Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in my quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined today from the Observatory, one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, it's a fine day to be speaking about the things we love.
That's right. It's always a good day to talk about the things we love. Speaking of the things we love, Jonathan Voico's here. Jonathan, how you doing?
Hey, I appreciate that. A happy final day of June, everybody. There you go. There's something to rejoice about, I guess.
And can I just say, I never thought I would live to see the day that Canada would advance further in the World Cup than Germany did. Never thought that day would ever happen in my lifetime, and yet here we are. Too bad, too. All condolences to Germany. They completely outplayed the other team. But anyway, guys, we're glad that you are here and joining us today. We got a lot of things to talk about here. So let's not waste any time, shall we? We're going to get right into it, and we're going to start off with this. You know, animation is kind of right now the king of the hill. I mean, animation is the stuff that is just dragging people to the box office. We saw it with numbers and things like Inside Out 2, but then of course, Super Mario Brothers has done great. Zootopia 2 came out and became the highest grossing, I think about $1.8 billion, the highest grossing animated film of all time. Now Toy Story is out in theaters and is completely dominating the box office right now. Well, today, a little trailer for a brand new animated film called Not Alone, being primarily voiced by Timothée Chalamet and Selena Gomez. By the way, also Ted Lasso's Brent Goldstein, Allison Janney is also doing voices in it. And they dropped their first trailer today. And this comes to us from the folks at Variety, who wrote the following. Illumination, responsible for hits such as Minions and Sing franchises, has also released the trailer for Not Alone, a new alien-themed animated film starring Timothée Chalamet and Selena Gomez. Chalamet makes his animation debut in the film, voicing Joe, an introverted rocket mechanic who lives a quiet life alone, while Gomez plays Fran, a brilliant astrobotanist who is developing the world's first ever plant-fueled rocket. Per the official synopsis, when Joe and Fran are brought together to prepare for the inaugural launch of this revolutionary rocket, there are immediate sparks, but neither is particularly adept in romance. Life becomes more complicated when the three aliens, tiny, unruly, and adorable, take refuge in Joe's home. Dunk, Welly, and Sherm, I don't know, are on the interplanetary run from the zealous yet inept officer of the law named Xandro. The aliens determined that Fran's rocket would provide their means of getting back home to safety. All right. I knew nothing about this movie. Like the
I still
only,
don't.
yeah,
I know it sounds better than Disclosure Day turned out.
yeah, it does. This is the movie it should have been. The only thing I knew about it was A, that it was happening, and B, it was called Not Alone. That's it. I really didn't know much more beyond that. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even realize Timothée Chalamet was doing a voice in it. By the way, just a moment to once again grind the axe of why do you, listen, I'm one of Timothée Chalamet's biggest fans. Why did this movie need Timothée Chalamet to do the voice of it? Why not go get a trained, lifelong studied voice actor to do it? Just saying, like, I'm sure Timothy's going to do a good job. I just know why you had to pay Timothée Chalamet to do it, or Selena Gomez for that matter, but whatever, put that aside. All right. So the trailer comes out and I knew nothing about it. Totally went into this trailer cold. I got to say, even before they got to the aliens, I thought this was absolutely charming. I thought it was completely endearing. The way these two characters, clearly liked each other, but they're both very shy. The whole scene in it where like he finally builds up the courage to ask her to lunch and she, revs it up a notch and says, how about dinner? And it's completely charming. Now, then they waited to the end to introduce the alien element to it, which does feel like a totally different movie than the first part of the trailer kind of makes it out to be. So, look, it is a first trailer. First trailers are not designed to give us a lot. They're just meant to give us a little taste. But I got to tell you guys, I am actually pretty excited to watch these two characters just like forget the alien aspect. Even if I've never, ever thought I'd be interested in an animated rom-com. But you know what? Elemental changed my mind about that because Elemental might be the greatest animated rom-com of all time. All due respect to Lady and the Tramp. But I think that's my favorite romantic rom-com ever in animated form. But I actually find myself really interested in watching this film. Now, I don't know if the movie's going to be good or not, but I thought the trailer was really quite cute. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to watch the trailer for Not Alone. We haven't talked about it at all, but what did you think about it?
Dude, it has aliens in it. That's all I got. I mean, anything to do with space, I'm there. But I have to say that I was a little perplexed by it at first. I mean, yeah. I think Jonathan had some more to say about that, but I was like, what is this? But by the time I realized what it is, I'm like, look, you had me at aliens. I mean, I'm not going to lie. And like you, I did think I liked the style of animation. I like the way it looked.
Very Illumination. Very style.
Yeah. It kind of put a smile on my face. And look, I thought that there's a lot of story happening in this. There's a lot going on. But I didn't know. I saw the first time I even heard of this movie was at the Irvine Spectrum on Thursday last week when we went to see our triple feature. And did they
put the trailer in front of it?
There was a poster for it.
Oh, okay.
And it's not a real poster because they have the electronic posters cycling through. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's like I keep thinking about that old Saturday Night Live routine with Steve Martin. What the hell is that? And that's kind of like how do I not know of a movie called Not Alone? This is somehow I'm tremendously shirking my responsibilities as an imagination connoisseur, but now I know, and I'm in. I have to say that I found this to be relatively charming. So I don't quite. It seems to be a lot of movie, so a lot of stuff going on. I hope it works out, but I'll
Jonathan,
go see it.
You were a little bit more when we talked just briefly before the show started. You're a little bit more, about what was your impression of it?
My impression doesn't speak to the movie itself. The movie could be very amazing. Like I'm looking forward to it. It to me it seems like it's Illumination with Pixar storytelling. If that makes sense, kind of with that.
Yeah.
But where I got confused because until you just read that's a plant-based rocket, I'm like, is that like a biome that they're launching into space? Are they on that rocket? Are they launching a rocket? Like, what is this red light? Was the red light those little aliens? But then there's a planet. Is this like Illumination's like version of Melancholia? Like what's happening?
Version of Melancholia.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
Me too. So I just felt like what they were showing me was like kind of incongruent or whatever. But that's just the first trailer. But now that I know more about the plot, I'm a little more interested in it.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about this first trailer for Not Alone? I am pleasantly surprised by it. I thought it looked really charming. I mean, I don't know how we're going to feel about it after the second thing. And I'm not even really sure how I felt about the little aliens, but whatever. Right now it's got me. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, of course, once again, the biggest thing in the world of movie news over the past, better part of a year now, has been the upcoming merger, or at least potential merger, between Paramount and Warner Brothers, as Skydance is looking to gobble up its second major studio. Now, there are still several hurdles in the way. We've talked in recent weeks about the EU is going to have some investigations into stuff, that the UK was going to be taking a little bit of a look at things. The most prominent, I guess I would say, hurdles aren't going to be anything from Europe. It's going to be this lawsuit that a bunch of the states' attorney generals, including attorney generals from New York, California, and several other states, it looks like they're prepping to bring a lawsuit to stop it. That's going to be the major hurdle. But still, the European ones have been a real thing. And now that hurdle just got a little bit bigger, at least a little. as the Hollywood Reporter is now put out a story about how the UK government is now likely to, in their words, intervene in Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery takeover. The story goes on to say this: the UK government is likely to intervene in the Paramount Skydance $111 billion takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery. UK Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sports, Lisa Nandy, released a statement Tuesday saying, "Following engagement with the parties and independent research, my department has today written to the current and proposed owners of Warner Brothers Discovery on my behalf to inform them that I am minded to intervene." This suggests that a more formal action will follow. Nandy noted that the combined entity will own Channel 5. This is over in Europe. Will own Channel 5, TNT Sports, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, CNN International, Paramount Plus, and HBO Max, and suggested that concerns around consolidation in the on-demand video market is a part of her concerns. She also cited, quote, the need for, to the extent that it is reasonable and practicable, a sufficient plurality of views in news media in each market for news media. All right. Let's break this down for a moment. When she says that she is likely to intervene, it has to be noted that as of right now, no official steps have taken place. She has just written a letter to Warner Brothers and to Paramount to let them know, give them a heads up that I am likely to do something about this. And she has the power to do that, given her role. What is likely to come of this? Okay, there are three possibilities. I'll start with the least likely, and then I'll move up to the most likely. All are possible, but I'm going to go from the least likely to most likely. Outcome number one is that she proceeds to work within her counterpart government agencies to stop the merger. That's a possibility. I think it's the least likely of them, but it is a possibility. Possibility number two, and a little bit more likely than the last one, is that she looks more into it and then just comes out and says, nope, I'm totally good with it. Everything's fine. You're all good. Go and be with God. And like, that's what she could say to them. Again, I don't think that's the most likely scenario, but it is possible, and it's more likely than the other one. The third scenario here that I think is probably most likely is that she will end up writing in a couple of weeks another letter to Paramount and Warner Brothers and saying, okay, here's the deal. You can go ahead and have this little merger, but you got to sell off parts A, B, and C. Maybe they'll say you've got to sell off Nickelodeon and Channel 5. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll say you've got to sell off CNN International. Maybe they'll say you've got to sell off. What I'm basically saying here is, I think the most likely scenario is they're going to go to them and say, okay, you can go ahead the deal, but it can't involve these parts. You have to put in guarantee that you're going to sell off these parts to divest yourself of some of this stuff so we can still have that plurality that I mentioned in the previous mail. And I think that is probably the most likely scenario. So once again, the three scenarios I think we're looking at here is, number one, they just block the deal altogether. It's possible, but I don't think likely. Second possibility, they just come out and say, nah, everything's good. Again, more possible, not exactly likely. Again, guys, I think the most likely scenario that's going to come out of this is, because if she wasn't already very, very concerned about this, I don't think she writes the letter to them in the first place. Clearly she's already done a lot of research on this. Clearly she's already done a lot of due diligence, and clearly she already has some thoughts. So I don't think it's just going to be nope, I think everything's fine. I think it's most likely she's going to go back to them and say, you can do it, but it can't involve certain pieces. Which pieces? I don't know, but I think she's going to force them to divest themselves a little bit. At the end of the day, Rob, I don't think this is something that's going to stop the deal. I think it might modify the deal a bit, but I don't think it's going to stop the deal necessarily. You had a chance to read this story. What's your takeaway from it, and what do you think ultimately the outcome of this is going to be?
I have to say that, first of all, I was very interested in this because this is no longer just something that this is an international, the effects of what this might mean if Paramount and the Warner Brothers Paramount merger and the products that this Warner Brothers Paramount merger would continue to create, which is obviously entertainment and TV and news and everything, that it is going to affect the globe. And, Hollywood shifted over from a domestic business that found its way to other shores to being a truly global business. Movies are now, they expect movies make more money foreign a lot of the time than they make domestically. And that wasn't the case when we were growing up, John. Like in the 80s, movies sure played around the world, but they were still making movies for a domestic audience that they hoped would travel. And the kinds of movies studios would make changed when you could make $100 million or $200 million movie that would make $1 billion worldwide. So there was a fundamental change in the movie business that we've seen over the last couple of decades, which means that the things that we're making are designed to have global penetration. And I think that it demands that people around the world look at what happens when a giant or two giant entertainment companies merge in America. What does that say about, I mean, it's going to affect whatever gets put out, the American view of things that is going to be sucked up by the rest of the world. So I think in a way, I wasn't surprised that, I know it's the UK, but that other people are looking from around the world outside the United States are looking at this merger now, asking themselves, is this a good thing? And that, and that if they don't think so, would they let American products from the Paramount Warner Brothers merger into their country? So which fascinates me. I mean, that whole idea of the rest of the world looking at our entertainment and wondering how it's going to impact them is something that I don't think normally think about, even though we should be. So I'm fascinated by what's going to happen. I don't think, like you, it would stop the merger. I think they would have to take extra considerations. There might be levels of approval or something. I have no idea what that's going to look like because it's way above my pay grade. But I do think that it's going to fundamentally affect how business is conducted in moving forward, because they might not be the first country to be interested in this merger and how it's going to shake out.
By the way,
yeah.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Well, I just don't know. I mean, you know what it did? It made me look at this in a different way. I'll say that, a way I wasn't looking at it before.
I want to point out here that one of our live viewers is asking a question that I think a lot of people are asking. And it's Ruleth is writing, is it possible for the UK to block a US company? All right, so here's the situation. This isn't a matter of, let's say, Uncle Bobby's Corner Store in St. Louis wants to merge with Aunt Betsy's Corner Store in St. Louis and make one bigger corner store in St. Louis. No, England cannot come in and say, wait a minute, we don't want them to be able to merge. But here's the thing. The UK is not interested in what's going on with US companies. They're interested in what companies in their territory are doing, operating business in their territory. Mm-hmm. Because remember, these companies are doing business in the UK. They have ownership stakes in properties in the UK. And you still got, if you're going to do business in there, you got to follow their rules in there. And the UK is a big enough market that if the UK said, no, we don't think a merged Paramount Warner Brothers company is going to be allowed to operate in our territory, that's a big enough deal that it would stop the merger. Now, again, just to be very clear, I don't believe that's what's happening. I don't believe that's how this is all going to work itself out. It's just a matter of the fact that, particularly in the European market and in the UK, they have a stake in this because they do a lot of business over there and they actually have ownership in companies there. And that's why it is their business. Even though Paramount is an American company, even though Warner Brothers is technically an American company, they have ownership over in the UK. They do business in the UK. And when you do that, you got to follow their rules. And so that's why this could theoretically become an issue, and why specifically, guys, I think that the remedy for this for Paramount in the UK is simply going to be the UK telling them, divest yourself of some of your properties, and then we'll give you the stamp of approval. That's what I think ultimately this thing is going to come down to over there.
It looks like the European Union model that they're kind of following.
Yes.
Because we had just talked about, Rob and I had just talked about this last week, I believe. And the European Union is also, it's not like a full on, you can't do business here, but you have to divest some of your holdings that do business here.
Right. Because we don't want so much power in one set of hands. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? They're saying that the UK minister may actually step in, and she's saying she is going to intervene in this merger. Could it be absolutely nothing? Could it be something with some remedy? Could it be something that blocks the whole thing? Again, I don't think it's going to block the whole thing, but whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Absolutely one of my favorite stories in entertainment over the past couple of years is the story of Carl Rinch, the director who told Netflix, hey, I'm going to make this sci-fi show for you. Just cut me a check for X millions of dollars. And Netflix said, okay, and give him a check for a bunch of millions of dollars. And then he came back to them and said, we're having some trouble. Cut me another check for more millions of dollars. And Netflix said, well, we haven't seen anything yet, but okay. And they give him more millions of dollars. Except the part is that Carl Rinch never made the show. Instead, he took the money and spent it on a bunch of stuff. If you guys want a little reminder of the stuff he went and bought, let's take a look at that, shall we?
Let's do that.
In total, he had 11 million of Netflix's dollars, of which instead of spending it on the TV show, he went and bought 5 Rolls Royces and 1 red Ferrari, valued at approximately 2.4 million. This is the part that kills me. He bought 2 custom bed mattresses totaling, grab your dick, $638,000 plus luxury linens in the total of almost $300,000. On top of that, he bought luxury apparel and jewelry, $652,000 worth of designer clothes and luxury Switch watches. Dude, I still buy my Gitch from Walmart, whatever. With at least one watch valued at $387,000. I just bought an Android watch for $50. I'm very happy with it. Credit card debt. He took roughly $1.7 million to $1.8 million just to pay off his own personal credit card debt. And this is the big thing too. Before making these purchases, Rinch initially lost over half of the $11 million, making risky speculative bets on stock options. He then took his remaining funds and gambled it on cryptocurrency, specifically Dogecoin. This is my favorite story ever. This is my absolute favorite story ever. Anyway, gotta be noted.
They're going to make a movie on this guy.
They have, somebody's got to make a movie on this.
Netflix should.
That's breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, now it has all come to a conclusion as the director, Carl Rinch, has been sentenced now to 2.5 years or 30 months in the Netflix fraud in federal prison case after Keanu Reeves and attorneys cite mental health issues. So what happened was that the prosecutors were seeking 5 years, but Keanu Reeves, who made the movie 47 Ronin with him, testified, and some others testified that they really felt he was having that the director was having mental struggles and all this kind of stuff. And
he's not sleeping well.
That's why he needed the $600,000 mattress. Yeah. He's just not getting enough sleep. So apparently the judge said, look, I tend to believe that. Like, I'm looking at these are not the actions of a stable person. And so the judge took it a little bit easy on him, still gave him 2.5 years in federal prison. Now, of course, this is all coming out of that, to quote South Park, Netflix, you're greenlit, era of Netflix, when they were just greenlighting everything. Yeah, they were just like literally greenlighting everything. And so now he has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Now, it reminds me of a story. I don't think I've ever told this story on here before. I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years, so maybe I have at some point. But this is a true story. Hand to God, this is a true story. All right? This reminds me of just a little while ago, I got contacted. I got a phone call from a producer who's like, "Hey, let's go to Vegas this weekend." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure. I'm always down for a Vegas trip. Let's go to Vegas." And he was getting ready. He was in the midst of getting ready to make this movie. And as we're going to Vegas, we're about 2 hours into the drive when something started feeling funny about it. About like some of the stuff. I'm like, what's actually going on here? He goes, "Okay, here's the real deal. So I got X amount of money from our investors in the movie, but I gambled it away. And we haven't made the movie yet. I swear to God, this is a true story." At which point I'm like, "Dude, that's not good. That's not cool. How are you going to fix this? How can I help? What can we do? I mean, I'm not going to give you any money, but like, how are we going to fix this?" He goes, "Well, swear to God, this is 100% true. That's kind of why we're going to Vegas." I'm like, "Do you have another investor in Vegas?" In a way,
Yeah. It's called Caesar's Palace.
I got a sum of drugs and I've arranged to sell it in Las Vegas. And I'm like, "Wait a minute, you're going to try to make the money back to make the movie that you took from investors by doing a drug deal?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm desperate, but I just got to do it." I'm like, "All right." And it wasn't until about 2 minutes later that idiot Campea, the little bell went off and I'm like, "Wait a minute.
Are the drugs
Do
in this
you
car?
have cocaine in my car right now?" He's like, "Yeah, it's in my suitcase." I'm like, "What the fuck? We get pulled over. I'm screwed." Unknowingly, I was transporting narcotics across state lines. I'm like,
The long
"Dude,"
walk back from Baker.
the long walk back. And needless to say, got to Vegas and I said, "This is where we part ways." I just get out of my car. Yeah, I get it was just like that. Who plays Gambit again? Channing Tatum. It was like that Channing Tatum moment in 22 Jump Street when the little bell goes off, like ding. And
Yeah.
like it was like 2 minutes later. I was like, "Wait a minute, do you have cocaine in my car?" Anyway, that was just a little while ago, and yeah, I just thought I'd share that little story. Anyway, Rob, this long drawn out. This has now been a couple of years, I think, with Carl Winch has now come to a conclusion. He's going to spend 2.5 years in federal prison. What lessons do we take away from this, Rob?
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Antonio Fermi, who wrote the article for Variety. He contacted me and he told me that he was writing the story. He was at the courthouse when the sentencing came down. And then he wrote the article and turned it in. So it was wild hearing his firsthand account and then he passed along his article last night. But here's the thing, John. Throughout history, we've always heard of people absconding with budgets or doing the wrong things with money that they've been given to make movies with.
Right.
I've never movie making, having budgeted films and been given lots of money to make movies myself. You want to be a custodian of it. I mean, sure, there's a lot of money that it might seem like you can run away with it, but I'll tell you that a good production accountant, you got things down to the penny, and it's not your money. And at some point, someone's going to come a-calling, and they're going to look at your paperwork, and you better be damn transparent because I'll tell you, they'll know. It's funny because how do you think they know how to keep people from getting their profits? They have incredible forensic
Yep.
people. I mean, you just I just don't understand how, if somebody gives you a lot of money, first of all, I don't understand how Netflix gave him all this money in the first place.
I think that was just their common practice. I think it was.
I mean, was that back in the Netflix, your greenlit days?
Yeah,
I mean, it's this. I find it so crazy because even when I was producing DVD special edition material, this never happened. But when I was producing DVD special edition material, let's say I was given by $1 million by Disney when, doing Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And that was to pay for a team of people that are in New Zealand for 14 to 18 months. They have to be paid for. And at any one time, I thought Disney would do that. And you always have to have your books ready to be opened, to be looked at, because they're going to want to know where their money's going.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I look at this poor guy. I don't care if he had mental issues or Keanu Reeves thinks he was a great dude. When you're buying $150,000 mattresses, I don't care what kind of mental state you're in. You have to know that's not why you were given the money.
Rob. $300,000 mattresses.
I stand corrected.
We don't want that trash $100,000.
I don't want that Costco $150,000 mattress. I want the good stuff.
And then he bought like multiple mattresses.
Oh, you need two.
Was one for the guest room?
What kind of peasant sleeps on the same mattress during the weekdays and on the weekend, Rob?
Yeah, I have my lovemaking mattress, and then I have one for my day bed. I mean, I don't
needed a mattress for his Mercedes.
Wow, I just man.
Yes.
Look, I think that justice was served here, and I honestly feel bad for the guy. I do. But what did you think was going to happen? Did he not understand?
Like, did he think they would just Netflix would just forget? Like, they're making so much stuff, they'll forget what that I was making them a show. I don't know. It was weird. Out of curiosity, Jonathan, how much of my money did you embezzle? I'm just curious. That's a good looking chair. That's a very comfy looking. That looks like a $300,000 chair there.
Yeah. Minus like 299,950.
You told me you were making the next Avatar. Where'd my money go?
That's true. Well, I went to Vegas. Some guy had a suitcase full of cocaine, and I picked that up.
All right,
the
guys.
The thing is, I would have just kept the Coke.
Nope. Nope, dude. I don't know. I've had a heart attack, and I don't think I've ever been as scared in my life as when I realized what was going on there. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? My absolute favorite story of the last couple of years is now coming to a conclusion, as director Carl Lynch is going to spend 2.5 years in prison for embezzling $11 million from Netflix. Anyway, whatever you guys think about all this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, speaking of big studio mergers, news came out yesterday, or maybe even late night on Sunday, but that you guys know I said this a number of months ago. You guys can attest to this. I said this months ago. Mm-hmm. I said there were whispers going around that Comcast was going to divest itself of NBC Universal. I said it on the show. I said it for a while. Well, it did come to fruition. It's been announced that Comcast is going to divest itself of NBC Universal, separating out the technology side of the company, Comcast, with basically the entertainment side of it, NBC Universal, which has got a lot of people talking. And a lot of people believe out there right now that the reason they're spinning off NBC Universal is to make it attractive for a sale. Again, going back to the earlier days of Netflix and Paramount both trying to get it, one of the things that I proposed was that, if Paramount doesn't end up getting Warner Brothers, I think NBC Universal might become a target, because I was hearing whispers that Comcast might be spinning them off. Well, here we are now several months later, and it's actually happening. The Hollywood Reporter says the following. Let's get this out of the way first. Comcast co-CEOs Brian Roberts and Mike Cavanaugh told Wall Street analysts Monday that the proposed spinoff of NBC Universal is absolutely not about setting each side of the company up for a sale. However, the story goes on to speculate that none of the analysts believe that at all. None of them believe it at all. So they believe that they are setting it up for sale, to which the Hollywood Reporter is saying, well, then who might be a buyer for the new NBC Universal? The market might seem frothy for media and entertainment, but aside from the high-profile pursuit of Warner Brothers Discovery, there hasn't been a ton of deal-making for studios or streamers. Roku is a platform after all. They speculate right off the top, Netflix. The obvious name after its pursuit of Warner Brothers Discovery ended, with the streaming giant folding its hands in favor of David Ellison's Paramount. Rumors have rumbled for months that Netflix could eye an asset like NBCUniversal as it seeks growth. We've talked for a while now about the fact that Ted Sarandos and Netflix have decided that they actually do want to be in the theatrical movie business, but they do not have the logistics or the infrastructure for it whatsoever. Netflix is always going to be a streaming first company, but they would love to buy another company and get into that game. NBCUniversal kind of provides a really interesting thing for that. The IP, while not as strong as Warner Brothers Discovery, is nonetheless better than Netflix's current holdings, and experiences could change the narrative around Netflix's growth, particularly with experiential offerings seeming in demand right now. Because remember, a part of this, guys, with NBCUniversal is the theme parks. And Netflix has been doing more with physical brick and mortar experiences stuff. Everything from full experience attractions in certain cities to like Netflix experience restaurants in Las Vegas to like all this kind of stuff. They've been getting more and more into that sort of thing. So the theme parks could actually be an interesting part of that. Now, the Hollywood Reporter article mentions several other potential suitors like Amazon, which I thought would be a buyer at some point. Disney, Paramount or Fox could look at that kind of thing. So the Netflix part of this is the part that to me is really interesting and really juicy. Because again, like I said before and for a long time, Ted Sarandos and Netflix has decided they do want to be in the theatrical movie business. This seems like a very no-brainer kind of acquisition for them. And the little cherry on top would also be that it would end up being cheaper than what Warner Brothers Discovery would be. Doesn't come with all the same IP that Warner Brothers would have come along with, but it would be a cheaper price tag. Here to me, though, is the biggest argument against, and I want to know what you guys think about this. This is the biggest argument, I think, against the idea of Netflix getting NBCUniversal. It's not meant to be funny. It's not a joke. I still really believe that the main reason Netflix and Ted Sarandos did not beat Paramount's offer to buy Warner Brothers was because they fully believe that Paramount will fail. I really do think that. I think a part of the strategy of Netflix is they walked away from the deal, got a nice $2.5 billion check that Paramount had to give Netflix to walk away. And I think their plan now is like, they're going to fail. And we're going to be able to come in and buy Warner Brothers for pennies on the dollar of what we were going to pay for them. Now, they might be right in thinking that, and they might be wrong in thinking that, but I believe that's their thought process right now. So I think it would make a good idea for them to try to buy Universal, but I think the biggest argument against is that I think they still have their eyes on Warner Brothers. Hell, they might even have their eyes on Paramount and Warner Brothers when they eventually fail, if they do.
Right.
So I don't know. Rob, you had a chance. You saw this story come out here. What do you think about Comcast spinning off NBCUniversal? Do you think they will ultimately put themselves up for sale? Do you think Netflix would be a bidder? Do you think somebody else is a better bidder? How do you see this?
Well, it was kind of, it's all surprising. The thing that obviously there's still a lot of infrastructure of the old ways of doing things in terms of TV stations, broadcast stations, cable. There's so much remnants of all of that. And we're in the middle of this, this huge transition. And then you've got the companies that create the content. And I understand how people want to split those things up. Do I think that, obviously Netflix is not a studio. And I think Netflix probably, I'd like to think they've seen the light at having a studio that already has theatrical distribution in place, that already has the infrastructure in place, is probably very desirable to partner up with as far as Netflix is concerned. So I could see them, because that's what they want. They prove Universal or NBC Universal wasn't up for sale yet. There wasn't anything to go after. Well, if there is something to go after, so Netflix won't get what they wanted from Warner Brothers, but they very well could get it from Universal, NBC, and they basically have the exact same thing they would be getting with Warner Brothers. So I could see Netflix.
More so, I would argue.
Yeah, 100%.
To a degree, yeah.
And I think that again, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I could definitely see Netflix being the first and foremost people to step in to want to do something like this. And again, I don't know. I don't know what the differences are, and I just don't know enough about how big and what is everything that's encompassed here. But they also have a bigger. I mean, there's a theme park presence here that's pretty substantial. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if Netflix did step in.
I mean, there's more pieces. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jonathan.
It's just interesting that the real estate deals that Netflix has been going through in Los Angeles lately, purchasing studio space.
Yes.
I wonder how that overall affects, because if you were to get NBC Universal, you're getting you're not just getting the lot. They own sound stages off lot where that ranch used to be. That's all new, brand new studios, soundstage space. They own the Burbank. It's called Burbank Studios. It was the old NBC studios.
Yep.
That's all soundstage as well. So yeah, I actually grew up running around there with my dad. But so it's interesting, the real estate deals that Netflix is doing right now, and how does that translate to their further acquisitions?
Yeah, I mean, and you got to keep in mind too, when you're talking about NBC Universal, you're talking about Universal Studios, you're talking about the Universal Studio theme parks, you're talking about NBC, you're talking about Peacock, and I know they own a bunch of other things too, a bunch of legacy things. Correct me, do they own Bravo? I can't remember if they own Bravo or not. Warner Brothers might own Bravo. But yeah, look, if you can look that up for me, Jonathan, what other properties does NBC Universal owned? So, I mean, this would become a big thing. Again,
they have Telemundo, which is massive.
Oh, that's right. That is a big piece of their pie.
Bravo, yes. NBC News now, Bravo. NBC Sports, Golf Channel, Cozy TV, whatever that is, Peacock. Hey, yeah, they have a lot of other international.
So a lot of that's going to come into play. Now, I still think the main thing that Netflix is looking for here is still the main thing they were looking for when buying Warner Brothers, which is that distribution infrastructure. Number one, the talent and the availability and the infrastructure and the logistics to make movies. And then more importantly, the logistical infrastructure to actually distribute films, which is something that has taken these studios a century to put into place.
Yeah.
So, but again, I'm still just going to say that I think their main target is still actually Warner Brothers, and they think they're going to be able to get that in a few years. But who knows? We'll have to see. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Comcast is going to spin off NBC Universal. It will no longer be Comcast NBC Universal. It'll be Comcast and it'll be NBC Universal. And are they doing it to sell? And if so, who do you think could come along and pick something like that up? Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Well, Spider-Man is now, as of, I guess, today and tomorrow, 1 month away. Spider-Man Brand New Day is just 1 month away before we finally get into it. Now, you guys remember the other day, there were some initial box office projections that were put out there that were saying that Spider-Man could make up to $200 million on its opening weekend. Now, lest any of you have the foolish thought that, well, that's not that big of a deal, I want you to keep this in mind. Here's some context. In the history of Hollywood, only nine movies have ever opened to $200 million or more. Out of the tens of thousands of films, only 9 have ever opened to 200 million or more. One of those happened to be a Spider-Man movie, by the way, not for nothing. And that was big, and that was impressive. However, a couple of things have happened since that time. Spider-Man has already sold over $42 million worth of opening weekend tickets a month before the movie has even opened. It's already had $42 million in pre-sales. Now, some numbers I've seen, some reporting I've seen, it might be right, it might be wrong. Some reporting I've seen say that's the 4th biggest pre-sales numbers ever in history. And it still has another month to go to do pre-sales.
That's a lot of mattresses.
That's many mattress. I would call that
I can see it now.
Mattressai? Is that the plural? Many mattressai. That's a lot of mattresses. But now, because of that, there are a number of outlets that are now reporting that the projection of up to $200 million has actually ratcheted up to the $250 million range. House Media is reporting that with tickets demand exploding weeks ahead of release, early projections are already pointing towards a domestic opening weekend north of $250 million. If those estimates hold, and again, it's still a month away, Spider-Man Brand New Day would instantly rank among the biggest openings ever for a superhero film. It's not just biggest opening ever for superhero films. It would rank in the top 5 of the biggest openings ever, period. We go over and take a look at this chart. These are the biggest opening weekends of all time. So we've got, obviously, Lion King, the 2019 Lion King, 191 million. Black Panther, 202. In the number 8 spot, the original Avengers at 207. First film ever to crack the $200 million mark. Jurassic World made 208. Deadpool and Wolverine opened with $211 million. Star Wars The Last Jedi at 220. Star Wars The Force Awakens at 248. Avengers Infinity War at 257. Then there's that last Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home at 260.1. And then, of course, the biggest opening weekend of all time. I don't know if this record will ever be broken, but at $357.1 million, Avengers Endgame. So, if this movie gets that 200 million range, that puts it into the top 10 of the highest grossing of all time. If it does get 250, and again, we're not saying it will, but if it does get 250, that suddenly makes it the 4th biggest opening of all time. If it manages to go just a little above that 250, say get 261, we are now talking about the 2nd biggest opening in the history of cinema. Now, again, let me restate here. We are still nearly a month away from this movie coming out. I don't think anybody can give a truly accurate prediction about what this movie will open to. I won't be shocked if it opens to 150. I won't be shocked if it opens to 220. I won't be shocked if it opens to 230. You know, I mean, I don't think it'll make 230, but there are some of these outlets that are now, they're doing their projections. They're saying it could be higher than $250 million. In a post-pandemic world, obviously that would be beyond a first in the post-pandemic world. So anyway, Rob, let's start with you on this. You're seeing these numbers, over 40 million in pre-sales tickets, with still a month for pre-sales tickets to be done. Some are saying 200 million, some are now saying 250 million plus. How big do you think this movie opens? And then put that in perspective for us about how big of a deal that may or may not be.
Well, first of all, I sent you a clip this morning of a Spider-Man No Way Home promo.
Oh, I saw that yesterday. I saw it yesterday with Messi.
Lionel Messi. And I'm like, okay, in terms of marketing and in terms of this, the most romantic press tour in cinema history with Zendaya and Tom Holland traveling the world looking fabulous and wearing incredible clothes and celebrating their love, which seems to be what this movie is all about. It wouldn't surprise me if this film becomes the biggest opening film of all time. Because just
whoa. Let me put the brakes on you there. You're saying you think there's a possibility this could exceed $357 million.
I'm not saying it's gonna.
But you think it's possible?
I think that there's something in the air with this film. Now, obviously, it doesn't have all the superheroes. It's only got one superhero. But I think that
Punisher and Hulk.
but it's
But it's a Spider-Man solo movie.
Yes, it's a Spider-Man solo movie. But no, I really think it's going to make it that much money. But I do think, let's call it number 2 then. Number
2 is plausible.
I think so. And I think that this film has the potential to blow through everything only because there seems to be so much goodwill surrounding it, so much need to see, so much excitement.
I
think this is and people, it's the right movie for the right time, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised. Yesterday we were speculating how much money it would make, but these numbers don't surprise me at all. They really don't. And I just, everything I'm seeing this. Here's the thing. Movie marketing has never put a smile on my face as much as the movie marketing for this movie. I mean, this is just, the marketing itself has become a show. Seeing what are they going to wear next, and what city are they going to? The spider tracker, traveling around. I mean, whoever came up with that idea, it was a genius conceit because it comes out of the movie. We've seen that Ned is doing that in the film, and then they've turned it into a real life thing. Genius marketing. But John, I look at everything that's going on around this movie, and I'm like, hey man, this okay, not Avengers numbers, but number 2, whatever that number is, I think it's going to be very, very close.
I think you should put that on the poster. Spider-Man No Way Home is number 2. Robert Meyer Burnett. I mean, I still don't think, and again, I'll pull up the chart here. I still don't think, and again, we're a month away. Ask me in 2 weeks, I may totally change my song. But as of right now, I still don't think it hits Spider-Man No Way Home numbers because of three big factors. Factor number 1, while Marvel is certainly recovering, like they've got a nice little thing going right now with a really good Wonder Man, a quite enjoyable Fantastic Four movie, an absolutely fantastic Thunderbolts movie. So they're on a nice roll, but they're not in the same place Marvel was with hype, with fan belief, with excitement as they were coming out of Endgame and going into Spider-Man No Way Home. That's number 1. My second thing is that there's not quite, this is a statistical truth, there's not quite as many people going to the movies today as there was at that time. It is recovering, yes, but we're not there yet. The third and maybe most important thing is this doesn't have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming together with all 3 of our lifetime Spider-Men all together in one movie. There's a novelty in that I don't think putting in Punisher and Hulk can match. Now, ask me again in 2 weeks. I may totally change my mind on this. But that's those 3 reasons right now. I think you're right, Rob. I think this is the right movie at the right time.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be great because you got Destin Daniel Cretton directing it, who did such a marvelous job with Shang-Chi. I think you've got a Marvel that's on the rebound right now, which is good. We're heading into Avengers Doomsday, which is working its favor. And I agree, it's the right movie at the right time. I just think there's enough headwinds there, though, that not to stop it from hitting 200 million, but to stop it from hitting that Spider-Man No Way Home 260 million. But again, Rob, ask me again in 2 weeks. Let's see how the winds go over the next 2, because I may have a totally different point of view by then. But where are you sitting on this right now, Jonathan? Number 1, let's go with the most extreme thing. Let's go with the silliest thing that Rob said. And then we'll go to the silliest thing.
No.
Does Spider-Man No Way Home get Avengers Endgame? Okay, I'm going to take it you say no to that. But can it catch Spider-Man No Way Home. Is that within the realm of possibility? What do you think?
I think it can. I think it actually can. I think if it's within the realm of 250, it definitely can get to number 3. And this is 260.1, so it could just edge out. It may not be a lot. It might be 260.2, but it could get the number 2 spot for sure. And I was going to say, it doesn't account for tens of millions of dollars, but it could be just the right amount to click it over. Don't underestimate the droves of people that are attracted to the celebrity lifestyle, that are following the Zendaya and Tom Holland marriage and relationship, that are going to come just to support the relationship. I am telling you, there are a lot of TMZ people out there that's the way they think.
Yeah, Rob has brought that up a lot. Yeah, Rob's made that point. So let's go to the opposite end to the silliest thing that I've said, maybe, which is I still think there's a possibility it makes under 200 million, which again would still make it one of the highest opening weekends of all time. But I still kind of think it's a chance it could be under 200 million. Do you think that's crazy, or do you think that's a chance?
I don't think that's. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I can't believe it's going to make under 200 million. I think this
under 200 million would be insane. No, I just don't see that.
It would still be insane, but I think this movie's going to blow past 200
We're
million.
also coming right off of Comic-Con. This Comic-Con is going to be we haven't seen a Comic-Con like this since maybe 2016 when DC was blowing up with their slate. This is going to be massive.
Yeah,
massive.
That is all true. Guys, the question is for you then. What do you think about this? Do you think that Spider-Man Brand New Day can exceed Spider-Man No Way Home's opening weekend 260? Do you think that maybe it could come in, still be the biggest opening of the year by far, but come in under 200 million, somewhere in between, somewhere lower, somewhere higher? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And just so you know, Jonathan, I just looked and I absolutely forgot to hit record.
Nice.
Once again.
Nailed it.
So you know
why I had a feeling, and I was going to remind you a second time because we had that sign-in issue, and then I was like, oh, see
I did.
Totally got me off track. Yeah, and I totally got kerfuffled with the sign-in issue. Anyway, little behind-the-scenes things. It's all right, guys. The segments will still go up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right. And with that said, guys, we got to do 2 things here. First, we're going to bid good afternoon to Robert Meyer Burnett and Jonathan Voico. Great job, guys. We'll talk to both of you again tomorrow. Take care.
Yep.
And now, of course, we are going to go over and take your live comments and questions that you guys have been firing in to our super chat feature. Just so you guys know, I should have closed it, but the super chats are still open right now. I'm going to turn them off in just a couple of minutes. So if you have something to fire in, fire it on into the super chats now, because I will be turning them off in just a few minutes. But for now, let's get over, shall we? And start taking those super chats that you guys have been sending in during the show. We're going to start off here. Who are we starting with? We're starting with King Daddy Goat, who writes, Obsession is on digital today. Thanks for all you do. Yes, today is finally the day that I watch Obsession. My wife loves the movie. So the moment it became available, she bought it. And that is our plans for tonight. I will finally be watching Obsession tonight. So I'm looking forward to that. Finally. All right. Next up, Isaac Sanchez writes, what are you doing on the 4th of July, John? I don't care. I do not observe American holidays. So I don't know. Whatever my wife wants to do. Oh, you know what? No, I take that back. My wife and I are going to be in Las Vegas, I think. Yeah, my wife and I are going to be in Las Vegas doing a restaurant crawl, something we've never done. But we're going to go to Vegas for the explicit intent of hitting all of our favorite restaurants in one weekend, which I'm pretty excited about. Should be a lot of fun. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't really observe American holidays too much because I'm not American. No disrespect. It's just I'm not American. That's all. All right, next up. Callum writes, hey, John, you've been watching the World Cup. If so, who do you think will win it? Happy for Canada. Think you'll get knocked out in the next round, though. Well, you know what? I feel a lot better about our chances now. I did not think we'd be playing Morocco. That's who we're playing, right? I think we're playing Morocco Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Not that I have already looked it up. But look, I'll say this. Canada has never made it into the round of 16. Ever. They can lose 18-0 on Saturday. And I'm good. I mean, literally, like I started off the show today, I never thought I would ever live to see the day where Canada makes it further into the World Cup than Germany did. So yeah, whatever. So this is all just gravy at this point. We're in the round of 16. That has never happened. So I'm going to be super excited, super proud. Morocco can go in there and beat them up 25-0. That's perfectly fine. This is the best result we've ever had, and I'm totally proud of them. All right. Oh, and who's going to win? Probably France. France has looked brutal. France has looked really good. Argentina's looked really good too, though. But anyway, so we'll see. All right. Jay Tovin writes, the difference with Supergirl and Hulk is that there wasn't a failed MCU prior to Hulk coming out. Supergirl had way more pressure to deliver. Oh, if you're talking about the thing that we put together yesterday, what's funny to me? I had some people like really desperately trying to come up with ways to make something look like it wasn't. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I brought up this example yesterday. So you guys know I didn't like Supergirl. I was really disappointed in the movie. It's not a good movie. Had some good things in it. I'm not saying it didn't. And I understand there's a lot of you guys who did enjoy it, and that's awesome. I did not. That's okay. But, we were talking on the show yesterday, and like, there were a bunch of people who were like, oh, that RIP DCU. DCU's dead now because of one failed movie. And, Superman was an absolute triumph. Huge critic scores, huge audience scores, made more money at the box office than the previous 7 DCEU films. And that was all despite the fact that the audience had already completely abandoned the DC brand and completely left them in the dust, and that the reputation of DC was a burning pile of dog crap. And yet Superman came out, performed well. But even when it did, I said, but don't start throwing parades yet. Like, it's a good start, but it's just one movie. Anyway, so I made this comparison yesterday. I said, don't forget, guys, that when the MCU started, it came out with a big win with Iron Man, $585 million at the box office, 90% critic scores, 90% audience scores, big win. Their second film, not so much. Their second film took major nosedives in all 3 areas, made less than half the money that Iron Man did with The Incredible Hulk. Its critic scores went way down, and its audience scores went way down. By the way, side note, the audience scores for Supergirl are actually higher than what they were for The Incredible Hulk. So the illustration I made was simply this. Hey, look, Marvel came out of the gate with a great win with Iron Man, and then they suffered a big setback with The Incredible Hulk. Did that mean Marvel was done? Did that mean Marvel was dead? And it's so hilarious when I get these people come in. It's not the same thing, John. Yeah, it is. A new superhero franchise with a great first movie doesn't mean it's going to work. And then a big setback in the second movie doesn't mean it's going to fail. And it ended up being just fine. Does that mean that DC is going to be just fine? Well, not necessarily. Like, for all we know, Lanterns may suck. Like, I think it's going to be great, but it might suck. Clayface might suck. I mean, I think it's going to be great, but it might suck. So, I mean, like, if we get a bad Supergirl movie and then a bad Lanterns and a bad Clayface, I mean, yeah, then things could look bad. But all my point was that we had an identical situation with a first movie in a comic book superhero universe that was great, a second movie that was a big letdown, and the cinematic universe ended up being just fine. And it's been so funny seeing people twist themselves into knots trying to come up with ways to say, no, it's totally different. And no, it's not. It's really not. You can try to spin it however you want to spin it to make it fit your narrative. I have no narrative. I'm just saying it doesn't mean it's in trouble. It doesn't mean it's fine. It just means Nothing. They had one really good win. They had one disappointment. Okay, now let's see where they go from here. The next couple of projects are going to be very telling, but yeah, man, I'll tell you what. I really did not like Supergirl. It's not the worst comic book movie I've ever seen, but I did not like it. And I really wanted to. But anyway, there's that. Okay, next up. Let's keep things going here. Our next up comes from Ryan Looney, who writes 1 of 3. As a book reader, I was waiting for the execution scene at the end of House of the Dragon on Sunday. When I didn't see their name during the opening credits, I had feared they had moved it since we hadn't seen him in so long. Yep, with Otto. And maybe that was a change George Martin hated. Glad to be proven wrong. Such a great death scene too. It's brutal and denies Rhaenyra any satisfaction. Really makes you ask, is this really what she wanted? Well, you do have to remember too, in House of the Dragon, that this was the whole reason this mess exists is because of Otto Hightower. And Otto is a really interesting character. By the way, I've turned off super chats, guys, just so you know, I've turned them off. Otto is a really interesting character in the sense that I believe he truly did love his king. I think he loved the king. And I think he was very loyal to the king, but at the same time, he had his own designs and machinations. And at the end of the day, Otto Hightower was the one who put this whole mess into motion. And so maybe it denied Rhaenyra some of her true satisfaction. But the reality is, in the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. Otto lost, and he died. So there you go. Anyway. All right, next up. Where are we at here? We just did Ryan. Thank you for that, Ryan. I appreciate that, man. Mattia writes, just saw Supergirl recorded 2.9 million this Monday. Mondays, listen, Supergirl's going to flop. Yeah, that goes without saying. Never worry about first Monday numbers. I've seen massive movies have really small Monday numbers and then pick up through the week. I've seen bad movies record suspiciously large Monday numbers, but they never sustain. So again, Supergirl's a flop, but I wouldn't read anything into first Monday numbers. I really wouldn't read too much into that. All right. Sin Vendetta writes, congratulations to Obsession, 371 million for overtaking Sinners, 370 million at the worldwide box office. A feat I don't think anyone saw coming. No, absolutely. Look, nobody saw it making over, let's be honest, I don't think anybody saw it making over $200 million. Like right at the beginning, I don't think the director's mom thought this movie would make over $200 million. The fact that it got close to a Black Adam on one fraction of a Black Adam's budget is ridiculously impressive. And I'll look forward to watching it a little bit later tonight. All right, next up. Where are we at here? We're at Joseph Claps sends in a $50 super chat. Thank you, Joseph. And for supporting us on that level, man, this is incredibly generous of you. Joseph writes, it's a miracle the MCU even works. Their movies still mostly make 400 plus million at the lowest, even during 2022 to 2024, with so many failed universes, mostly last decade, or ones trying again like DC. Why are all shared universes not created equal? Here's the thing. At the end of the day, I guess I could take my headphones off. At the end of the day, you can be a shared universe movie. You can be a movie outside of the shared universe. All that matters is, do you make good movies? Everybody always thinks it's formula. It's formula. It's formula. No. There's no formula. You got to make good movies. You know, Rob and I would debate about, over the past number of years as Marvel has been in at least I'll say a rough spot by its own standards. Not in a rough spot by DCEU standards, but in a rough spot by Marvel standards. They've been a rough spot. And, Rob and many of my friends would point and say, well, it's because they don't interconnect their movies well enough now. I'm like, none of that matters. The movie's just not good. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania was just not a good movie. I don't care if you put in 6 more strings that connected it to Shang-Chi and connected it to Black Widow and connected it to a Thor movie. It doesn't matter. It's still a bad movie. At the end of the day, you just have to consistently make good movies, whether they are in a shared cinematic universe or not. The magic sauce with the MCU has been, notwithstanding some of the struggles they've had the last few years, is that they ridiculously consistently made good movies. Yeah, they were in a shared cinematic universe. Yeah, they were connected to each other. But at the end of the day, they made good movies. Captain America, The Winter Soldier was just a great movie. Shang-Chi was just a great movie. Thor was just a great movie. That's the thing. And I would propose that every studio has a very difficult time. It's a Herculean task to put out 20 movies, shared universe or not, any 20 movies, and have 17 out of the 20 of them be really good. That's almost impossible. And yet, for like more than 15 years, Marvel was able to do it. So it's not a matter of shared cinematic universes. It's just any studio, whether it's small, specialized like Pixar and Marvel, or more macro scale like Warner Brothers or Disney or, Paramount, for any studio to put out, say, 20 films and make 16, 17, 18 of them be really, really good, that almost never happens. And yet Kevin Feige found a way to do it for a bunch of years. Again, notwithstanding the struggles they've had the last few years. But yeah, that's the main thing there, Joseph. All right. Thank you for the question, man. And thank you so much for supporting us on that level, man. That's incredibly generous of you, dude. Appreciate that. All right. Emmanuel writes, I hear that you saw Creature Commandos. Could you give some quick thoughts on what you thought of the show and if you're looking forward to season 2? Well, I've reviewed it. I reviewed it a long time ago, but yeah, I liked it. I like Creature Commandos. I didn't love it. I quite enjoyed it. I don't think it was on the same level as, say, the Harley Quinn series. I don't think it's on the same level of Invincible or anything like that, but I thought it was quite good. I really liked it. Am I looking forward to season 2? Yes. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not jumping up and down and drooling with excitement about it like I am for Dune 3, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I thought it was a good show. It was better than I thought it would be. Yeah, I had a good time with it. I'm looking forward to the next one. All right. Thanks for that, Emmanuel. Next up, we got Peacenik, who writes, longtime listener, keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Do you think the leaked Spider-Man Brand New Day ending is accurate, thus why he's not in Doomsday? I have not seen what let me rephrase that. I've seen 5 or 6 different leaked endings of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Maybe so I don't know which one you're talking about because there are several, at least several that have come out over the last 3 or 4 months. So you might be thinking of one that I haven't even seen yet. You might be thinking one of the 3 or 4 or 5 I've already seen. Obviously, they can't all be right. They could all be wrong. So since I don't know which one you're talking about specifically, I'm not trying to dodge your question. It's just that since I don't know which one you're talking about specifically, I can't comment on it, unfortunately. All right. Thanks, Peace Nick. Next up, Patrick Larson writes, 6-month check-in, best of 2026, The Sheep Detectives, best from all years that I've watched for the first time. It happened one night, 1934. I still think that, I love Sheep Detectives, which is now on Amazon, by the way. I gave an impassioned plea on yesterday's show. Guys, if you have not seen Sheep Detective yet, go watch Sheep Detectives. It's so wonderful. But I still think the best movie of the year is still Project Hail Mary. I don't think we'll get to the end of the year and it'll still be my number 1 film of the year. But as of right now, getting ready to head into July, for me, Project Hail Mary is still the best movie of the year for me. But Sheep Detectives is probably number 2. Sheep Detectives is probably number 2. All right. Thanks for that, Patrick. Steven writes, I wonder what Scorpion did to Spidey to piss him off that much. Dude, that is my favorite moment in any Spider-Man trailer. Like, Peter Parker just decides he's had enough of this crap. Everybody giving me shit. And he just goes nuts. Like, he goes Pulp Fiction on Scorpion when he just grabs him and decides to just bitch him around. Boom, boom. Like, you are nothing to me. You are a bug, which I know is ironic since his name is Spider-Man, but you are a bug to me. And just, oh God, that was brutal. So yes, I will be interested to hear what's the line he says that maybe pushes him over the edge a little bit. I'm very excited to see that. All right. Next up, Joshua writes, you mentioned not knowing when to do after shows. What about a pre-show before a new episode? No. Discuss last week's episode and provide predictions for the new episode. No, because that doesn't fix any of the problems. What I had mentioned, Joshua, was that the two things that have kept me from doing, I love doing after shows, but the two things that have kept me from doing after shows is, number one, if I end up not liking the show, then I have to ditch on doing after shows, and I hate having to do that. And number two, it means I'm also working at nights when I should just be spending time with my wife. Now, that doesn't mean I can't ever do them. I'm just saying those are the two problems. Adjusting them to pre-shows doesn't fix either of those problems. If I don't like the show, I'm going to ditch on doing the pre-shows, and it still means having to work all day and then having to work again in the evening when I should be spending time doing stuff with my wife. So doing that doesn't really fix any of the problems, for like the after show aspect of it. Again, I am not saying I'm never going to do after shows again. I really do like them. I think I just have to wait to be able to do one that Ann is willing to do with me. If I can get Ann to agree to do an after show with me, then that fixes at least half the problems. And you know, Ann's done after. I love doing after shows with Ann. She's so good at it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Thanks for that, Joshua. Next up, FNF Clips sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Clips. I appreciate that, man. That's incredibly generous of you. And Clips writes, since John Cena has went bald to undergo a second hair transplant, I didn't realize that. Does this mean that Peacemaker won't be returning for a while since his head heals? Or do you think they already filmed the next season? Peacemaker needs hair. Well, no, they have not filmed the next season. As a matter of fact, just recently, John Cena did an interview where he said, he goes, look, I know this sounds like PR, but I am straight up being honest with you. I don't know what Peacemaker's future is. And he straight up said, you got to ask James Gunn. I don't know what he said. I think we're going to do more with Peacemaker, but as of right now, I don't know what the future of Peacemaker is and what we're doing. So they have absolutely not filmed a season 3. There are no plans right now to do season 3, at least that John Cena knows of. And then there are these little pieces of movie magic called wigs. That are very easy to put on. So if he needed to put on a wig, he would just wear a wig. I mean, if Nathan Fillion can do it for Guy Gardner, John Cena can do it for Peacemaker. But as of right now, there's no immediate plans for another Peacemaker season 3 yet. James Gunn was pretty clear about that after season 2. Again, not ruling it out, but they don't have anything in motion for it right now. All right. Thanks for that, FNF. I hope that helps. All right, next up, Ryan Kelly writes, your top 3 biblical movies. I don't think I've got 3 that are any good. I mean, I guess I would say Ben-Hur, because technically speaking, the full title of Ben-Hur is Ben-Hur, A Story of the Christ. I guess you could say the Charlton Heston 10 Commandments. I mean, Ben-Hur was also Charlton Heston. And then that's probably it. I think that's probably it. Yeah, that's not a bad, you know what? Jed Elias in the live chat just said Prince of Egypt. That's, I really do like Prince of Egypt. Look at your life through heaven's eyes. I love that movie, man. I actually do. I really like Prince of Egypt. Yep. So yeah, I'll give it that. So in no particular order, I'll say Ben-Hur, 10 Commandments, Prince of Egypt. That's what I'll say right now. No, definitely not Passion of the Christ. All right, next up. Ryan Gerger sends in a $70 super chat. Goodness gracious, Ryan. Thank you so much, man, for supporting our channel on that level, dude. Ryan writes, hey, John, I know you don't like ranking, but where do you, I know you don't like this. I know you don't like tomato soup, but try this tomato soup. Anyway, I know you don't like ranking, but where do you rank this Supergirl with other Supergirls like the TV show Smallville Supergirl and the CW Supergirl TV show and the Flash movie? Where do you rank these if you did rank these? Well, are you talking about the movie or the character? Because in as much as I don't like this Supergirl movie, it's a bad film. Again, no disrespect to anybody out there who enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, awesome. But I didn't. I can only speak from my own perspective. I think it's a bad film. That being said, Millie Alcock's a great Supergirl. I really love this character. I really do, which is why I had high hopes for the movie. I think she's probably, I'll say this. I think she's my favorite. If we're just talking about the characters, I think she's my favorite. What's the girl's name from the Flash? Is it Sasha Cayley? Correct me in the live chat, guys. I think it's Sasha Cayley or Cayley Sasha. I think it's Sasha Cayley at any rate. I really liked her Supergirl in Flash. I really liked her in that a lot. Melissa Benoist. I tried to get into that Supergirl show, guys. I tried. I just did not find it very good. I mean, it had its moments. It had a few interesting episodes and some interesting dynamics as well. I wish I could say that I liked it more. But yeah, I'll say right now, Millie Alcock's is my favorite and Sasha Cayley's is my second favorite. I don't know exactly how I'd measure the other ones, but that's how I would measure those two. Ryan, again, thank you so much for the question, man. And thank you so much for supporting us on that level. I really do appreciate that, man. All right. Next up, Bobby Jackson writes, do you think DC needs to have a Hall H panel this year at San Diego Comic-Con? No, I don't think they do. And I think that's for two reasons. One, the main reason is they don't have any big tentpole thing coming out anytime soon, right? Clayface is a smaller film that I don't think is going to benefit a lot from a big Hall H thing. And Lanterns, which is an HBO series, which I don't think would benefit a whole lot from a big Hall H thing. They might end up doing it. I don't know if they are or not, to be honest with you, but I don't think they need to. Marvel does. Marvel absolutely does. Because they got Doomsday coming, which is a massive tentpole thing coming in just like 5 months. That's coming. That's huge. And especially coming off of, they're still recovering a bit from the struggles they've had since 2019, 2020. So they do. But this particular year, I don't know that I'd say that DC needs to have a Hall H presence. Again, if Man of Tomorrow was coming out in November, I would say yes. If a new Batman movie was coming out this November or December, I would say yes. But we're still a long ways off from Man of Tomorrow, and we're still a long ways off from the Batman 2, and we're still a long ways off from a DCU Batman that they may do one, but if you're asking me, do I think they need to do that this year? No, honestly, I don't. I don't. All right. Ranch House writes, after getting back from Cannes, I think La Bola something is going to win Best Pick or at least Best Foreign Film. Be on the lookout for it. I've not heard of the film, but I will keep my eyes out for it. Thanks for the heads up. Jay Gandhi writes, will Spider-Man not having IMAX affect the box office? Yes, but not much. Not much. Let's put it this way. There is nobody anywhere saying, oh, I was going to go see Spider-Man Brand New Day, but it's not in the IMAX theater. Oh, well, guess I won't go see it. Like, there's nobody anywhere doing that. you would get a little bit of extra money from the premium ticket price of IMAX, but there's only like 70 IMAX screens or 170, something like that. It's so an impact. Yes. A significant impact? No. It might make the difference between, let's for argument's sake say, it might make the difference between Spider-Man having a $200 million opening weekend or a $204 million opening. I mean, it's still $4 million, but you know what I'm saying. So no, I don't think it's going to have a significant impact. A little. A significant impact? No. All right. Next up. Matt Black says, yesterday you said you would provide an update on the DCU Batman today. Can you tell us what you've heard, please? No, I've decided not to. It would cause too much of a circus. You know, here's the thing. I first brought up the Batman thing and the Batman casting thing, not to make a topic out of it. I didn't make any video about it. I made no headlines about it. It's just that when we were doing the Q&A part of the show, somebody wrote in and asked, and I kind of let it slip. I said, I've heard this, blah, blah, blah. And then for some reason that kind of blew up. And I have had almost everybody in the industry that I know write to me, say, who's Batman? Who's Batman? I said, number one, I never said I know who Batman is. I think I do. There are actually 3 names. One of them is the primary one. One is the one that I think it looks like it's going to be them. And then there's 2 others whose names I know they've talked to. But even though it was just a glib off the cuff answer I gave to a question that got sent in, I'm seeing all these outlets running stories about it. The new Batman has been chosen and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, this is whoa, time out. So yesterday I was thinking, you know what, it would be good just to get this all behind me and I'll just say it on the show who the names are. But now I think it'll just do more harm than good. I think it would just create a circus. And then here's the thing. I don't know 100% for sure. Like, I think I know who the Batman is. I think I know. But I don't know 100% for sure. Like, I'm relying on the word of a couple of people who have told me. And let me remind you guys of something that happened to me a couple of years ago. There was, let me see if I can pull this up here. There was a few years ago, back when Edgar Wright was still going to be doing Ant-Man, right? And nobody knew who Ant-Man was going to be. And I got told by multiple well-placed and reliable sources that it was going to be Adrian Brody. That Adrian Brody was going to be Ant-Man in Edgar Wright's upcoming Ant-Man movie. And I did what I heard the journalists say you should do. Make sure you have multiple sources and blah, blah, blah. And I was 100% confident that it was going to be Adrian Brody. So I got on my site, the movie blog at the time. It was the movie blog. And I wrote, I know who's going to be Ant-Man. I can say with certainty, it's been confirmed to me. It's going to be Adrian Brody is going to be Ant-Man. And that was great until Edgar Wright wrote to me and said, that's cute. No, he's not. And then I felt, I've done a lot of things in my life that have made me feel like a stupid ass, but that was one of them. That was one of them. So I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought about it. And I decided, because here's the thing. If I said who I'm pretty sure it is, and it turns out to not be that person, then I already know what the narrative is. Campea lies. Campea lies. Oh, see, and I'm not a scooper. Like I haven't spent years developing, deep studio contacts to get the flow of information. Listen, I got a lot of respect for guys who are in the scoop business and who've developed those networks and have developed that infrastructure. I'm not a scooper. I never have been. I think I'd be a terrible one. And I just know that if I said out loud, and even if I gave every caveat in the world, even if I spent an hour going, guys, listen, I did not speak to that person directly. The person I think it is, they never told me they were Batman. I don't know for sure. This might not be true. Nobody should run with this as a story because this is only what I heard, blah, blah. I could give caveats for an hour, but I know exactly what would happen. If I said who it was, who I believe it is, and then for whatever reason it ends up not being that person, I'm going to spend the next 5 years hearing, Campea's a liar. Campea lied. And I'm like, well, you know what? I don't want that headache. I simply don't want that headache. So now, I have told a couple of people who I believe it is. There's a few people I've told. And I've sworn them to secrecy. And they will be able to tell everybody later on when they announce Batman, if it's who I believe it is. I will just reemphasize, it is really not a name I was expecting. It was not a name I was expecting. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to say who it is. Now, look, let me say this though. If I get more confirmation about who I think it is, then if I can get confirmation that makes me feel 100%, like right now I'm 99%, but if I get another big piece of confirmation, I'm talking somebody right involved with the movie's production, gets a hold of me and verifies the name to me, then I'll come out and say what it is. But I until I get that, I don't want another Adrian Brody situation. I don't want another Adrian Brody situation. So yeah, I just think for now I'm going to sit on it because there's no benefit to it. If I said it out loud, there's nothing good comes out of me saying it, but a lot of bad things can come, including, here's the worst possible scenario is if I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, but if I'm wrong, then I will be responsible for causing a lot of misinformation being spread around, and I don't want to do that. So I know I could get 1 billion clicks right now. I could get 1 billion clicks on this video right now if I came out and said who I believe who Batman is. I know I could get 100,000 clicks on it totally easily, but I don't want to cause misinformation to get spread around the fan community. So I'm going to respectfully right now sit on it. And then there are a few people that you guys know that I have told, and they will confirm later on whether I ended up being right or wrong about who it was. So we'll sit on that for now. Anyway. All right, guys. That will do it for all. You guys know I turned off the super chats a while ago, so that will do it for all the super chats. Right now, though, I do still have a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is this. Look in the live chat. I just put in all capital letters, question : If you have a question for me in the live chat, just put in all capital letters, question : and send one in. Understand, I ain't going to read all of them. I'm going to just cherry pick a couple, and then we'll end off today's show. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Where are we at? We're at, Lorenzo writes, could David Ellison prove us wrong and be dead serious about leading Paramount Warner Brothers to success? Sure. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Do I think it's likely? No. But is it possible? We have to believe it's possible. Right? I believe this deal's going to go through. And so what are we left with other than to really hope it works? And so is it possible it can work? Absolutely, it's possible. I don't think likely, but possible. And we got nothing. We have to hope for that. We 100% have to hope we're that. Let's see here. Diego writes, if the name you have is true, do you think it would be a good Batman? Yes, I really do. I mean, again, I don't know what James Gunn has in mind for this Batman, so I don't know for sure that the person I've got is a great fit because I don't know. But in general, do I think this person would make a really good Batman? Yeah, I really do. I really do. At least I think the potential is there for that. All right. Live and La Vida Loca writes, question, will Spider-Man get the black suit at the end of Brand New Day? I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think 90% of the movie-going audience want to see Spider-Man in a black suit. I think 5 to 6% of the movie audience that knows the comics and they would love to see it. I think Spider-Man's image and look is iconic, and I don't think they're going to go away from it. I don't know that. Like, they very well could. 100% they could. I don't think they will, though. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think they will. That's my guess. Let's see. A Brave Coward writes, after a 6-year break, finally, Movie Fights is back on Screen Junkies. Can we expect you on there? Love your enthusiasm and argumentative skills. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm no shade. This is just me being honest with you. I didn't even know Screen Junkies still existed. Straight up. I'm just being honest. I didn't even know they still existed. So, I don't know. Maybe. I did enjoy my time on Movie Fights. I think I was on there like once or twice. I really had a good time doing it, but I honestly straight up didn't know they still existed. Anyway, again, I don't mean that as a negative. I'm just saying I didn't know. I just didn't know. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Yanni writes, do you think that Doomsday will be the best superhero movie of all time? No. No, it doesn't need to be. Doesn't need to be the best superhero of all time. It just needs to be great. So do I think it's going to be the best superhero of all time? No. But do I think there's a chance it could be? Sure. Yeah. There's totally, there is a chance it could be, but do I think it'll be the greatest superhero movie of all time? No, but it absolutely doesn't need to be. Doesn't have to be. Does not require. Salty Rice saying, Adrian Brody is Batman. You got it. You totally nailed it. It's Adrian Brody. Let's see here. Leo says, do you think Brand New Day will surpass No Way Home? Well, if you've watched the show, I've already said today's show that I don't think it will. I could be wrong, but my guess is right. I might change my mind, but I don't think it will. All right. Johnny writes, will we hear about Voltron at Comic-Con? Probably not. Amazon dumped it on streaming. It's going to be dumped onto streaming. I don't even care about Voltron anymore, despite the fact that it's got my boy Henry in it. Once Amazon announced that they were dumping Voltron on streaming, it's like, okay, so they're not taking this movie seriously, and I'm not going to take it seriously either. I mean, obviously I'll watch it because it's my boy Henry and it's Voltron, but no, I don't think we're going to hear anything about it at Comic-Con because I don't think they're taking it seriously. Let's see here. Question, will you be doing a stream for Marvel's panel at SDCC? No, I'm not going to go into Hall H. I haven't stepped foot in Hall H since I moderated a couple of things in Hall H. I like, God bless people who are willing to stand in line for 17 hours to get into Hall H. And I mean that honestly. God bless them. I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to stand in line for 6 hours, 12 hours, 18 hours to get into the Comic-Con panel that I'll just hear what happened at it a little bit later on. So no, I will not be going, since I'm not going to be in the panel, and I wouldn't be able to live stream from it anyway. Now I might do a stream like after the panel is done and it gets reported online, everything that gets announced, then maybe I'll do a live stream to say, let's go over everything that was apparently revealed, but I'm not going to be in the panel to do one like, say, we do at CinemaCon, that I'm actually in the panels and then come right out and do a live stream. I won't be able to do that because I don't stand in line for 10 hours. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is it. Jeremiah King writes, can you give us an update on Campea Con Las Vegas? So we had this idea. We got contacted by a potential sponsor, and an idea was floated of us booking a weekend in Las Vegas and getting a small private theater. And then for a weekend, you could buy tickets and come book your own hotel and stuff like that. But you can come to Vegas, and then every day over the weekend, like for 3 days, we'll watch 2 movies together, like big popular classic favorite movies, and have like an hour-and-a-half discussion about those movies after each movie. And then maybe later in one of the evenings, go to an actual movie theater and see a brand new wide release film. And we were not going to call it Campea Con. We're still looking into it. We haven't settled on anything yet, but we are still looking into it. It could be fun. Could be a lot of fun. So there's that. All right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to the thousands of you guys in the live chat for making this show part of your day and for participating. Love it, you guys. And again, a big thank you to all you guys who sent in the super chat questions, not only because you gave us great fun things to talk about, but also because you supported our channel while you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. That will do it for me for now, guys. We'll be back, of course, again tomorrow. By the way, Olympic gold medalist Cody Miller and the Enhanced Games champion Cody Miller is going to be joining us on the show on Thursday. We're looking forward to having him. That'll be a lot great. But, well, of course, the crew will be back tomorrow. Me, Rob, Jonathan will be here tomorrow. I hope you guys will come back and join us as well. That will do it for us for now, guys. Thanks so much for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.